As a video game personality on YouTube and as a journalist on Examiner.com, I try to find some obscure games to cover every once in a while, especially for anniversaries. I love doing retrospectives on huge, long-going series. Today is probably the most obscure thing I've probably covered on here. So I want to talk about Crayon Shin-chan. Now, the manga began sometime in August of 1990 in Japan. It originally ran until 2010, but was cancelled upon Yoshida Usui's, the author's, death. However, it was quickly renewed in that same year under a new name and a new team as New Crayon Shin-chan, which is still ongoing. And let's not get into the anime spin-offs. But what is Crayon Shin-chan? So, it's about a wisecracking 5-year-old boy, Shin Nohara. It's crass, filled with imagination, and tons of sticky situations. Imagine Bart Simpson, but younger and maybe a bit more crude. Bart occasionally moon people, but not to Shin-chan's degree of butt exposure, as you will see later on in these games. It offers various degrees of slapstick humor and jokes that are really hard to translate out of Japanese, which is why it's on the obscure side and really hasn't gone outside of Asian territories, because it's easier to translate that humor from Japanese to, Korean or Chinese. However, it did have a brief stint in American culture via Adult Swim from 2006 to 2009. While it found a cult audience here, it wasn't a hit. Unsurprisingly then, none of the series' video games made it over. In fact, Korea and Spain are the only two countries to see any of the 20-some Crayon Shin-chan games. It's a shame too, because some of them are actually pretty good, which is where I come in here. I didn't have the resources to get all 20 plus games, especially because there's a lot on smartphones, but these are the ones that out of the dozen or so that I found and played, these four are my favorites, and they're really good. Again, very obscure. Let's look first at Crayon Shin-chan Dao Mao no Gyakushi for the Super Famicom, which came out in 1994. Beautiful graphics right from the start. It's a very, very pretty Super Famicom game. You're going around your house and other environments, you're fighting random things. The first place, you're fighting cockroaches, and then you're fighting weird bosses, and you can kind of transform into stuff and do like these weird hula power-up things to do massive damage to all the critters on the screen. And seemingly, it looks like you're trying to free your friends who became monsters. None of them are in English, so it's very, very hard to know what's going on, and nothing has really been written about these games either. So, obscure of the obscure of the obscure. And I'm trying my best as a non-Japanese reader or speaker, so forgive me for my, let's call them, terrible pronunciations. I mean, just look, he fought an ass monster. That is a literal monster or enemy who is bent over and showing his butthole, or he is a butt with pants. I don't know. It's weird and really sums up what this comedy, manga, anime, whatever is really about. Next, let's get into the Game Boy game. Crayon Shin-chan 4 Ora no Urazura Dai Henshin. It was released in 1994 as well for the Game Boy, if you couldn't tell from this black and white screen. Now, it's very much the same thing. You play as Shin, and you can transform into a bunch of random things, kind of like Mario. You got a chicken, you can throw eggs, you become like a weird squirrel thing, you can kind of fly, you become a bug, and you can hit things with your antennae. And you can even transform into Bastard Man, which is basically his like Sentai or Power Rangers like equivalent hero that they have in there. And yes, you heard me right, it's Shin-chan, or Bastard Man. And you're fighting little kids again. I don't know why he's fighting kids. These kids don't look like his friends, based off of what I know from the show. But yeah, it's just very weird. But it plays rather well. It actually looks pretty good, except for the black and white. But the pixel art is great for the Game Boy. Next, let's jump a few, almost a decade. Crayon Shin-chan Arashi o Yobu Cinnamon Land, which came out for the DS in 2008. Now, it seems that I'm gonna assume here that the TV world has come into the real world and it's up to Shin-chan to fight off the villainy. You got random dogs, you can do a fart jump. You heard me, not just a double jump. You jump and then you fart to go higher. You fart to go higher. You can summon your family members to, you know, give you boosts and stuff. There's weird villains with pantyhose and they're on geese. You're shooting things and you're on an elephant. Bosses, weird stuff. Oh my god, you got this weird crazy mask guy that reminds me of the guy from Kirby, but I'm pretty sure he's actually a villain from the Bastard series. And then you basically go into different periods of like the show, because you're like warping into different like time periods because of the show. You can have all kinds of imaginative areas and you're not locked into just having the cityscape. You can even go to like a samurai type movie and fight samurai and ninjas, and you can turn into a frog like Mario 3. It's super cute. You can even like do a Bionic Commando type thing. You can launch your tongue and like fly from left to right. It's so cool. It's so cool. There's big bosses, and again, the art is really cool. I really like it. Lastly, let's look at Crayon Shin-chan Obaka Dainden Susume Kasukabe Ninja Tale, which was also released for the DS in 2010. Don't know why they're ninjas. Is this like some weird spin-off thing? Have they been transformed into ninjas because they went back in time? I have no idea. I don't care. You fight cute little enemies. You can do a butt dash. You can do a butt dash. You can even go underneath the ground, see your butt popping out of the ground, and then launch forward to hit your enemies. This game is so weird. It's so awesome. You can even be your friends in this. And they each have super, different powers. You got his friend right here. I can't remember what his name is, but he can do the transformation like a Tanuki in Mario, where he turned into a stone statue. You even got his friend, he has a cape and he can do wind magic and glide and hit enemies. It's so freaking cool. And this art, again, this video retrospective is obscure of obscure of obscure of obscure. It's so amazing. I love these games so much. I really wish we got them localized. It's probably maybe a little bit too late for that. But please, they're not that hard to find. Track them down, especially the DS ones. Track them down on Amazon, find them. Find the English stuff that's out there from Adult Swim. You can get those DVDs probably pretty cheap. Or watch it online somewhere. It's probably streaming from some service. Crayon Shin-chan, you magnificent butt-happy bastard. I wish you a very, very happy 25th anniversary. And hopefully, we get to see you sometime soon, again, in America.
Boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, subscribe, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom.